Okey-dokes, guys. Welcome back to the Iron Squid European Qualifier with myself, Kyle Laris, and Root Todd. We are jumping on into Plastic Man versus EmpireBRATOK. Who isn't Plastic Man? Who is he, Todd? Who is he?
Dimaga,
Awesome.
the people's favorite.
Yeah, so apparently his account got hacked. Poor guy. So he's having to play on Plastic Man, who is a different guy. So Plastic Man, he's going to be spawning, aka Dimaga, down in the bottom left-hand corner here of Cloud Kingdom. And spawning up to the top right-hand corner, we have Mr. EmpireBRATOK going to be spawning as our blue Terran. Now, this isn't the first game, is it? Or is it?
I don't think so.
No.
I wasn't told who won. We should ask.
Okay. Okay, so for now we can assume this is a second game. Yeah, we'll ask who is actually currently in the lead here.
Apparently they played a 64 minutes game, first game.
64-minute game?
Yeah,
wow.
That's what I read in the chat.
That's pretty ridiculous, but okay, so maybe we're in for another epic game once again, as for now we'll be just adding on the wall here for BRATOK, just getting that going, and meanwhile we'll probably end up seeing Dimaga go for hatchery first, unless somebody wants to get a bit shenanigan-y and a bit cheesy off the back of a 64-minute game, which is entirely possible, but I mean, they have the stamina, they have the ability to go into longer games if they want to, and neither of them I don't think is afraid of really going into a longer game. Both are very, very solid in that macro game.
And Cool Breeze, I think he he just started like 2 minutes ago his game against that other Protoss, and he's already like, I see the alerts. You receive a message on Skype, and I'm pretty sure it's him telling me that he lost again to Cannon Rush.
Oh no! Oh, we'll have to get an update on that afterwards. Akato will probably be in the chat eventually, and he'll be able to tell us as well if he's won or lost, I guess. So bless. Oh well, if he's lost, then that's that. So anyway, on to this game. BRATOK actually opening with gas, so he has the potential to get aggressive if he wants to. I would like to see some Banshee play. I do quite like that against Zergs, as well as maybe the Hellions mixed in. Do you get a lot of chance to watch a lot of TVZ?
I saw a bit, not too much, but I kind of know how it goes.
Yeah.
And I know that the Russians, Strelok is Ukrainian, but him, BRATOK, they really like those Banshees and Hellions, but they can also play Bio just fine. But I know that against Zerg specifically, they use a lot of Hellions and Banshees.
Yeah. I've also, I mean, for me, TVZ, it's probably one of my favorite matchups right now, just because of the way in which, ever since the Intel Extreme Masters Gamescom, we saw MVP really incorporating some very, very cool mech styles into the build, into the matchup. BRATOK has been known to do some mech styles, but for the most part, from what I see from BRATOK, is really kind of high mobility, biocentric styles, trying to go for drops and things like that. But against a player like Dimaga, it can be very hard to make that work. Dimaga's defensive capabilities are pretty darn impressive for a Zerg, so it's going to be difficult to find the openings here against Dimaga.
He's going to be able to poke around and see what's up. He saw that there was no early gas, and now he's going for the Reactor Hellion. So very standard build here. Now making a comment center. Oh, look, he's very nice move. He's going to use his barracks to spot the Overlord on the cliff.
Very good indeed. Killing that Overlord off this early and being able to take that completely for free, basically, you just, missing one Marine's production worth is so worth it. So very, very nice pick up there for BRATOK. And Rato says in the chat that he won that best of 3. So Diamond's fighting, apparently. Congratulations, Rato, for advancing on. That's fun.
And you see, Dimaga, when he saw that those Marines just right below his Overlord, I think he should have known that something was up. And you should have maybe moved his Overlord back a little bit, because the Marines, they don't have that much range, There was a way he could save his Overlord, I believe.
Yeah, I think that on this map, it's the metagaming mentality. You have to be aware that Terrans can exploit that, and you have to be able to pull it back if needs be. So, for now though, Bratok's just playing a very, very solid macro game. He's just getting his third command center up and running and poking with his initial Hellions. But interestingly enough, he's not continuing to produce Hellions. So it doesn't look like right now we'll see, oh, dear me, those Hellions getting one or two volleys off, but only kill off one worker in total. So a very, very nice defense there. Nice reaction times by Dimaga.
And that queen, very good job denying the entry.
Yeah.
The bouncer of the Zerg base. Saying no.
It's true.
You're not dressed for the occasion.
So elsewhere, what do we have? Yeah. Oh, what I was mentioning before. Actually, he's continuing to make Hellions now. He wasn't producing them during the whole entirety of that, but he's adding on barracks, and he was getting the stim. So it's very, very indicating of some kind of bio style here from Bratok, which I'm in two minds about. I think that sometimes mech styles can lend themselves very, very nicely to Cloud Kingdom, but for here, Bratok, and again, if he wants to go for the high mobility possibilities and become very, very annoying on the extremities of his opponent's bases, then he can make that work. But it's going to come down to whether or not Dimaga can really get the creep spread going, and he's already got really, really good inklings of that going with the 5 creep tumors already present, and it's up to the Hellions and any other kind of pressure to really kind of slow that down, because if it gets spread out too much, then it can be a hell of a nightmare to actually clean up.
I was going to say we're probably going to see double eBay, and now he made them.
Yeah.
So very standard play here. I think the Koreans are the ones that popularized this. In the Root private channel, I hear Major talks sometimes about this matchup. And he always is so elitist about the builds. He's like, oh yeah, Terran needs to make 2 eBay very early. Like this early, if he doesn't, then it's bad. And now Bratok made 2 eBay very early, so I guess it's good. Starting to upgrade immediately, and probably going to be going for a lot of bio with a couple tanks. Very standard PvZ here.
Yeah.
So
Meanwhile, Dimaga just going into his pretty standard play himself, actually adding on the Infestation Pit as well as the Baneling Nest to use those two in synergy with one another, lock his opponent down and then crash into him with just pulverizing any kind of bio play that would come along. And I want to come back to a very small thing that Bratok did. He killed off like 1 creep tumor by using the rocks at his opponent's ramp to actually use that to target it down, realizing where the creep tumor was with the Hellion. So just small things and small aspects like that really do make Bratok a very, very formidable player, and just thoroughness in his play. But still, that creep is going very, very strongly here for Mr. Dimaga. So. And he's got so many queens. He's got the queens active in the middle of the map, and he's doing a really phenomenal job of getting that going.
The Hellions now maybe gonna wanna scan to get rid of a little bit of that creep. No, he chooses not to, and he has a supply lead actually Bratok in this game, 93 to 78. But Dimaga does have the worker lead with 54 to 50. Double Evo with a lot of upgrades going right now. Isn't that kind of the Stefano build? A lot of links upgrades. With some infestors behind into probably Hive very soon.
Yeah, he goes Ling Infester, but right now against Terran, especially if they're going mech, he goes very. I was about to say he goes very quick Hive, but then instantly Dimaga starts a Hive of almost this sub 100 supply. So Dimaga kind of echoing this build, and now that he doesn't have a Spire started just yet, it's almost certain he's going to transition into those Ultralists and have a ridiculously potent mid-game into late-game transition, which is hard to deal with for some Terrans, especially if they're just going for this Marine tank style. He needs Tech Labs on barracks to then start those Marauders. Otherwise, this is going to get really, really sticky, I think.
And I was wondering, actually, I was going to ask you about the opener of Bratok. He opened on 1 base, Hellions, and then he made 2 more command centers. Do you think there is any metagame involved? Because those players play each other in tournaments sometimes. He wanted to trick him into thinking he was going to do some kind of attack on 1 or 2 bases, and then he just went for the kind of sort of a little bit greedy build, where he makes 2 command centers and 2 E-base and starts upgrading ASAP.
Yeah, it's something from Terrans that came out, a month or 2 after that patch hit, where Terrans were really feeling like, oh god, well what do I do? And Terrans nowadays just feel they have to play so greedy to match the Zerg pound for pound. But in turn, Zerg's just started playing even more greedy with hatcheries this early and getting up to the hive this early with the Ultralisks. So these waves and deviations in the metagame just keep kind of coming along, and Braddock's playing. He's still up in supply, so in essence, but Dimaga knows that. Dimaga's happy with that situation. He's happy to hold on to this mid game with the Infestors and Banelings, and then transition into this Ultralisk Cavern so quickly to the point where he has great 3-3 potentials really early on, which he should be starting at some point soon. And then with the Ultralisk just barreling down this bio. So despite nice fungal and catching those Hellions. But Braddock's going to have to find a way in to kill this. I don't know if this is going to be able to do so well if he doesn't split properly.
And I don't know what energy drink Dimaga has been drinking, but I want to try it. Look at his crit spread, man. It's out of this world.
You're right.
How is Braddock supposed to take a force, except the one on the right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, technically taking the one on the hold the phone, the Zerglings and Banelings are actually going to run in here. I'm not so sure they should be taking that path. They take a lot of free damage. Technically speaking, Bratok could take the fourth towards his opponent and try and defend that whilst assaulting his opponent's fifth. And he's actually doing a good job of assaulting his opponent's fifth here, but the Ultralisks are already on the way, and Bratok knows nothing about that. So he doesn't have the Marauders production there in place to really deal with it.
And Adrenal Glands just finished, so I think Dimaga is going to look to engage this and repel it if he has to. But if Bratok doesn't push forward, I think Dimaga is just going to wait it out and try to get 200 supply, because right now he has less supply than Bratok does.
Did they tell us what score was at the start?
Yeah, Bratok won the first game, they said.
Okay. So, yeah, Bratok, in terms of defeating Dimaga in such a long game, looking phenomenal, apparently, in game number 1. And, I mean, he's technically... unless Dimaga can make this push work here with the Ultralisk, he drops the scan, he sees the Ultralisk, he's making a few more barracks, he's going to add the Tech Labs on, and right now, Bratok seating back up, and looks like he's going to go for the push here. So many Zerglings swinging in, the Infestors coming down as well, a few Fungals go down as well as those Infested Terrans, but the Ultralisks move in and completely evaporate a ton of those Marines. But is it enough? There's still so much firepower from the Marines melting away and pulverizing this Zerg force. Bratok looking phenomenal.
Yeah, just too much army for Bratok here and great positioning. You just received him perfectly. It's a great concave. And Dimaga, he didn't have as much army as he should have. You know, Bratok was maxed. Dimaga was missing maybe 20 or 30 supply. He had like 170. So I think he should have waited it out a little bit, and now it's going to be very hard for him to come back in this game because Bratok is just pushing forward, jumping on the opportunity to seal the deal in this game.
Yeah, you're entirely right. Bratok here, despite not having the Marauders out that I assumed would be extremely pivotal against those Ultralisk numbers, he didn't need them. His tank line went back for a good amount of time. Dimaga didn't land the Fungals that he so sorely desired on clumps of Marines because Bratok didn't let him. He separated his Marines very, very nicely against that kind of eventuality, and right now Dimaga's scrambling for some kind of defense. He needs to claim this area back. He still has 3 bases, but Ultralisks running to the death. Nice surround with Zerglings from the back, though. Good surface area on this bio as well as tanks, but he's going to clean this up for now, but Bratok's done the damage he needed to, and with the 4th up and running on the way here, all Bratok needs to do is continually reinforce his location, and he has the aggressive stance to keep the pressure on Dimaga while still having the defensive position to defend his 4th.
And Bratok did take the base I mentioned earlier. It did not fully saturate it just yet, but he has a great economy. He can keep remaxing 4 bases, you can be maxed and remake almost an entire... Oh, great fungals on those medivacs. But Bratok just has so much.
Indeed. Getting that fungal on the medevacs, if he'd have been able to chain that just once or twice more, catching some of those medevacs, those very, very gas-heavy units here, is really, really strong for Dimaga. But again, his economy, in comparison to Bratok's, is in tatters. He somehow needs to find a way to repel all this attack while still conceding the fact that he needs to gain an economy better. And at this point, with these Infested Terrans going down, yes, they're going to clean up some of the tanks, but there's still more biopiling in with 3-3. The 3-3 just finished up for Dimaga on his Zerglings as well as Ultralisk once he wants to get them out, but he doesn't have room to get them out. He needs to keep making Zerglings to reinforce this location quickly enough to make sure he doesn't lose his 3rd base again.
And did you see Medivac filled with Marines took out the hive in the main?
Oh, did they? Oh, wow.
3 attack
Nicely
Marines.
done.
those knock joke around. They snipe this hive so fast.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal. Because right now, I mean, Dimaga, from here on, he's morphing in a layer at this point, and he's getting a Baneling Nest down once again. He needs this tech out as quickly as he can do, and from there, he gets delayed. Like, Dimaga, for example, if he makes the Ultralisk transition work, that being said, though, he's going for some more Zerglings, still trying to put on the pressure against his opponent, but it's not working. If he makes the Ultralisk transition work, he then looks and seeks to go for, you know, Broodlord tech. He says, well, you've got a lot of Marauders that I forced from my Ultralisks, now I go for Broodlords, and huzzah, I try and put on pressure from there. But BRATOK constantly with this aggression, sniping out all these tech abilities for Dimaga. It's so hard right now for Dimaga to come against. BRATOK's playing this so well.
And BRATOK, he just attacked the right base. He had to just now. He didn't rush in too quickly. He just pushed very slowly, took the opportunities, and brilliant play so far by him. Dimaga's creep spread was really good this game, but I think he was overeager with the fights and didn't fight in great positions, and that's what really played a big role in deciding who wins in the end.
Wow, GG, ladies and gents. Oh my god, BRATOK looking on fire in this game too. We didn't see game one. It was a prolonged game one apparently, but I can only imagine if it was that long, both players went toe-to-toe with one another, and Dimaga is known to be sniffed at. So BRATOK prevailing in a 2-0 over Dimaga here.